Okay, we're going to try recording now. I am redoing this demo. We ran into some technical difficulties. I'm not even going to, won't even get into it. There's a lot going on with these computers right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right into Keyshot. And first thing I got to do is share my screen. I'm going to share it with the remote labs. Here we go. And okay, and we are all, we're going to go into the metal server. And I'm going to real quick just tell you, I've got, so in my folder in CAD II for spring 2022, I've got two Bangle files. One, I arranged the Bangle in such a way that it would be above the ground plane and facing me instead of the way that I modeled it, which was kind of flat on the floor, and part of it was under the ground plane. I would demonstrate that, but it seems like it's running really slow and I want to get right to Keyshot. So we're going to open up Keyshot. And what we're going to get are a splash screen. I'm not downloading any demos. We had issues with the server earlier this week, and I want to just get right to Keyshot. So what comes up first is a splash screen, and you've got various resources, demos, etc., that you can get to through that. There really isn't anything you need to do here, but if you have the time, you really should go in and check out the various Keyshot resources you could get to through the splash screen. Now, this is one way that Keyshot will start. There are a number of different ways. Let's go and bring up the library. Oh no, we don't want actually, we don't want the cloud library. I just pulled up the wrong thing. There's plenty of stuff on the cloud library, but we just want to, if we just type the word or type the letter M, it'll bring up our materials panel on the right-hand side, and then the project, we can bring up the scene if we hit the space bar. Okay, and that's our project window on the right-hand side. If you haven't opened up Keyshot at all before, generally it'll open up this way, but if it doesn't, the way that you can bring up this workspace is to go into the window, bring up library, materials, it'll bring this window up, or you can just press the letter M, and then the project on the right-hand side, our scene window is what I call it. That is the things that are actually in our main workspace window. That will be on the right-hand side. Generally, you can actually customize your workspace however you want in Keyshot, but we're not going to do that for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my my Bangle file. First, I have to navigate to the server. I go under PC, and the metal server is down the bottom. We'll go to CAD II, spring 2022, and my my folder. And here I have my Rhino file, and this is a Rhino 7 file. I'm going to ask that to open up. One thing that I do try to keep track of is that Keyshot tends to make the up axis in Y as the Y axis, and usually in Rhino, the main perspective view has the Z as our up and down vertical axis. So I change that when I import things from Rhino, because I like to get them how I want them in Rhino, and then to move them into Keyshot, I like to have the same orientation for up. So I'm asking it to import the NURBS data and to have the up orientation be the Z. And here is my Bangle. Of course, it doesn't look like much, and it looks like it didn't get rotated the way that I wanted it to. So I'm going to go here to move this, and I'm going to right click on the actual Bangle itself, and over here where it's down here in this menu item, it says move part. That's also Control D, or you can just right click. When you move things in Keyshot, you're actually like performing a number of functions at the same time, and then you hit OK. So translate basically means move. Let's pull this up. So we've got translation, rotation, and scale. You can do them all at once if you want. So let's rotate this on our Z axis a little bit. Wrong direction. I want to go the other way. So we're going to negative here. Because I like to have bangles with a little bit of an opening, so you can see the space through it, so you know that it's open. I like to have it as an angle that if I had my hand, I would just put it right through the screen and be able to wear my bangle. That's sort of the orientation that I might want to just move it a tiny bit more. Okay. And then translation, I think I'm okay. Let me actually want to rotate it backwards a little bit. So let's go, no, that's the wrong way. I think it's this one. Let's see, nope. That's the correct axis, but I want to, there we go. So I'm rotating the position that it's in as far as, moving it up or back. I mean, we can do that. We can change where it's at in using the translate controls. I'm not going to though, because I really liked where it was. So we're going to hit 0 there. Now, I did all this little changes. If I don't hit OK, it's going to go back to where it was. Also, under the advanced, we can, take a look at things like we want it to snap to the ground. The pivot point for the different rotations is in the center as opposed to the origin. Snap to ground, lower part collision. With collision, it would warn you if things are overlapping. But here we go. I like how this, I get like a decent look of the form here. I've got like a nice shadow or reflection. The material that this is made of right now, I don't even know what we've got here for material. It's just a default material. So the first thing I'd like to do is I like to put in a nice new material. Maybe we'll grab, let's put on I want like a paint, because that's what I would do with my bangle anyways. I'm going to paint it, right? So I'm going to put a nice matte finish on it. Here's yellow. Ooh, that's a bit bright. I can change the color of that. I can go into my color panel and go down. I like these. I was thinking of like an olive or a green that's not too, where's this one? I like this here. Let's put that on. Okay. That's a dark jasmine. All right. That's kind of cool. All right, let's take a look at textures and see if there's anything we can do here. This is like a rough texture. Here's one here. Let's try that. Ooh, wow, that's like kind of big. All right. I don't know why this is like that. Oh boy, I hope Keyshot isn't messing up on me again. It was doing this the other day where it was keeping the window up before for the material. All right, we're not going to play with material at the moment. But that is kind of cool. Let's see whether we can, we've got bump maps. Let's try that. That's asphalt. Huh. Okay. I'm not sure I like it that much, but what we're going to do is we'll edit it over when we get over here. We can see now over here in the scene window that we have listed, first of all, the model that's in here. If I click on this, all right, it'll expand out to show me the different things. Right now it's got paint, matte, yellow, boy, oh boy. And that's our cameras. We're not going to play with cameras right now, but let's go to material and let's double click on the material here and see what we could do about the, right now it's showing the texture is pretty rough. So we're going to drop down that slider and see if we can get that to come down some. And I'm going to move down the refractive index too as well. So it's not, this is not working right. I am going to take this texture off of here. I don't think it's working properly. I ran into this issue earlier with Keyshot. We may need to restart the computer that I'm going to. Okay. Here's the mapping here. That may help me. There we go. We want to change the mapping size. Now we're getting more like what I wanted. And we can actually do some slight shifts in the pattern. And let's see here. Okay, see how it like blurs up and then it I don't like this. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, that's opacity. Oh, that's how this. All right, we're going to take this whole texture off. This is not doing what I wanted it to. We're going to keep it as a smooth. Actually, let's go back to the material and we'll go with a material that already has a slight roughness to it. So let's go into a plastic. We'll go with hard plastic. Hard plastic has got we've got some textures already built in. Let's go with this. I'm gonna go back into my colors. Let's check the Pantones. We might have a nice green in there. Pastels and neons, cotton, solid uncoated. Ugh. What do my greens look like? I went like an earthy green. Because, you know, maybe that's the color paint that I was thinking of doing. Look at this camouflage. Ooh, look at this. Here we go. Let's go with this one. Ah, there we are. That's nice. I like that. So that's how we can change around our colors. But notice that now if I go to the material and we'll double click on this, now we can look at, we've got this under bump instead of opacity. That was somehow when I dragged over, it looks like it was messing things up. So we've got the, all right, well, this looks good. We're gonna leave this, we'll scale it down a little bit more still. Let it see how it gives it just that slight texture there. This is a noise texture. And that's good. All right, so we're gonna scroll in and out a little bit. The next thing that we'll want to have over that we want to control here, besides our model, our materials, and now we'll want to take a look at our environment, right? We've got different kinds of light tints. We can actually put it in these places like, you know, this room. There we could drag that over, and we've got this floor. Not really what I would want to display my jewelry in, but I could also just use that and then use a blank background if I like the light that I'm getting from this, because actually this does put some really nice light on it. But now we can, instead of using the image, we can run a gradient in the back there. Now let's go with one of the light tints. This is the startup. This is the one that we started out with. Let's check one of these other light tints. Got a little more, it's too dark. The background's just too dark. Then we have the white studio gray floor. This is very, very neutral. And to be honest, it really doesn't do a whole lot for this piece. You want your piece to really look like it's showcased. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, this has got a nice contrast to the background. Excuse me, I sneezed. It's got a nice contrast to the background. This is, we've got a good shadow here that helps to really place the piece in the atmosphere that we're trying to create with this rendering. I think we're gonna stick with this one for now. We can also play a little bit with the settings around the environment. There's the brightness. You see here it got a little bit brighter, and the brightness seemed to creep up a little bit. Now I'm moving it back down. Let's see what other adjustments we have. Sorry, my zoom bar is in front of this. Fall off, transforms. I'm going to expand this. All right, that's coming along. And by the way, you can move these lights around over here. This is one way we can. This is looks like our dark area. Yeah, we can just change that gradient the slightest bit. There's a bright area. Being able to edit these environments like this is really, it's fun. Instead of having to like guess about where lights are, you can just intuitively look at the image and watch it change. And I want this guy up. Okay. Right there. I think that's good. See how I have a nice crisp line over most of this? This doesn't really blend into the background anywhere. Okay, so lighting, we're just going to leave that as basic because we were just playing with that in our environment. Now, the last thing that we really need to check on is our images. So the whole point of using a renderer like Keyshot is that we want to create images that are going to get exported, that are going to get created. Now, let's remember what a rendering application does. What it does is it looks at the geometry of your piece. It looks at the environment. It looks at the material that your piece is made out of. And then it, based on all of these factors, including lighting, texture, color, where it's sitting on the background, its position in relation to the lights, whether or not your material is transparent or translucent, what the light is going to do and how a camera is going to reflect that. So basically, your computer has to do all these calculations based on the shape of your piece, the texture of your piece, and it creates an image with them. So what kind of image do you want to have come out of this? There are numerous presets over here, and there's lots of different resolutions that you can choose. Where are we at? 1024 by 768 is a good place to start. It's not too big, it's not too small. And I like to start there. Then let's see, then we can create it. That's the so the default, let's lock that there. And now our image style 2 or style 1, and you can name these too. But what I usually do is I go through and I save them. Let's make this one also a, where's my image? Let's go right here to render. And this is where I can tell it what kind of things I want. Why is the resolution at 800 by 600? Is that the other one? Okay, so what I'm going to call this is Bangle. Helps if I Bangle render test 1. Okay, and it does have system render 1. Where am I going to save this? I don't want to save it there because that's right on the C drive. I want to go back up to my Metal server, back to CAD II, back to spring 2022, and my thing here. I've got rendering examples. We're going to select that folder, and I'm going to say Bangle render test, and I'm going to go 3/6/22 because I like to know when I did this. I'm asking it to be a JPEG. I'm looking at a very high quality JPEG. Do I want to, metadata? That's another thing that if you're going to be exporting to, say, a database or social media, if you use Lightroom and you want to put your images into there. But in the meantime, let's do the resolution. I'm going to go with that 1024 by 768. That's fine. Oh yeah, here's our presets. Okay. Okay. This is the print size. Here's where we can change our DPI. Layers and passes. Render layers, if we click on this, we can then ask it for different options. The alpha is something you want to do if you're going to plan to edit these in Photoshop. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to worry about that. Render passes, we're going to, we wanted to do all the render passes. Region, let's see. Oh, okay. This is if you want to just do part of it. We don't. We want the whole image. And we're going to add that to the queue. Okay, so that's a JPEG that we added to the queue. Now the next thing we're going to do is Bangle test 2. And I'm going to make this one a PNG. Now TIFF is another good option. TIFF is a much larger file, and Photoshop can open those pretty much almost native. You can take a TIFF and you can create layers in there and you can edit them. They're great for Photoshop. If you're a Photoshop person and you want to do some Photoshop editing as far as translating what you are hoping for how you're going to finish your piece, for instance, if you wanted to put paint in there or texture or maybe gold leaf or something like that, and you're more confident using Photoshop than trying to edit your materials in Keyshot, then that's one option for you. And I would recommend, if you're going to do that, to export to a TIFF. So I'm going to put a PNG here, Bangle test 2. We're going to add that to the queue. And I'm also going to, oh wait, no animations, right? We'll do animations later. So we're going to do that. And that's the output. Options, mode, default. Okay, render. That's good. Samples, pixel size. We won't worry about that. So here's the list in the queue. We can tell it to process the queue. We could also change the cameras. Let's just process the queue, which means that I'm basically telling it to start render. And when it's rendering, it brings up this separate window. And the separate window we'll get down here on the bottom. Now I'm going to drag this up so you can see it this time. You can see the progress down here on the bottom. Keyshot works pretty quickly. If you are using like opacity or transparency, you're going to want to not, you're going to want to leave it running for a while, not walk away, just like check and see how the progress is going, because it takes Keyshot, it takes any render longer to happen when you have opacities and transparencies, because your computer is having to think about not only what the light will do when it hits your object, but what the light will do when it goes through your object, if you have a transparent object. And if there's anything at all complicated about your lighting, your background, then these are also going to affect the length of time it takes to do your rendering. So I'm going to close this. We're going to do a save on this. I'm going to do save as. We're going to save this up here in Bar Bower. I've got a Keyshot Bangle demo here. I'm going to call this V2. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. We're going to close Keyshot now. And I'm going to take a look at these rendering examples. The ones I did today are, here we go, 3.6. All right, and we've got all these, oh, it saved these out as EXR files. So if we pull this open, oh my goodness, what did we do? Clown. Wait a minute. Oh, these are the, okay, so here's the image. All right, and these are all different, must have saved out the layers and the types. So, and here's Bangle render test 1. And this is the JPEG file and the PNG file. Those are our image files. These are adjustments to the image that Keyshot made. There's the diffuse, and no, we're going to skip that. But here's this. So this is what we got for our JPEG. this is a perfectly acceptable file to be used for critique to show what you're hoping to do with your Bangle. Okay, I'm going to stop this here. Right here, stop the sharing. And I'm going to stop the demo. You guys know how to get in touch with me. I will see you soon.